This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for Lessons Learned. And Lessons Learned is a podcast that we do, 2, 3 times a week with people who um, may feel like they have a diverse lifestyle. And that can be something that is very obvious to something that is so behind the scenes that none of us would have ever realized it. And today, my guest is Alice Diehl, who is an actress and living out in California and pursuing her dreams. And, I just want to begin with asking you, Alice, of all careers, why do you want to be in acting and in front of the camera or even behind the camera?
Well, my name comes from my great aunt, Alice, who was a stage actress, a vaudevillian actor, and her sister was a singer, and her other sister was a dancer. And Alice was the actor, and she was the first Lady Greystoke when Tarzan and the Apes came to Broadway. And she was crippled with rheumatoid arthritis by the time she was 30. So I think a little bit of her spirit kind of went into me a little bit. And
that's amazing.
That's how it kind of really started, because I started acting when I was 5. So it really it became just what I wanted to do. And plus, I just love movies. As you could see, maybe a little bit from my background, I'm a huge movie fan, particularly VHS. I still collect them to this day. So it's just a passion.
Absolutely. And, that's a very important word that you just used, called passion, because when you have a passion and you follow it, it makes life so much better. It's easier to wake up in the morning because we are going towards something that really is meaningful to us. And I know for many years when I worked in corporate America, getting up in the morning was the most difficult thing for me because I didn't like what I was doing. And I would put on a happy face and try to be good at what I was doing. And at the end of the day, driving home, I personally would get depressed because it was like, my day is almost over. I got to go back to sleep and start this all over again. So you mentioned that you started acting at the age of 5. So obviously your family saw something in you to help you pursue those dreams.
My family has always just been I was born into the right family. Let's just say that. I'm very lucky, because I know not everybody is that lucky. And they just wanted to make sure that I was included in whatever I wanted to do or whatever they were doing. And really, I'm a huge baseball fanatic. I love sport ball, as I call it. I love sports, but because of my physicality, I couldn't go that far. And I grew up skiing, though. I was a downhill skier, and but really I realized that acting could replace some of the physical stuff that I wasn't able to do, and that's basically what happened. It just took over.
So you talked about baseball, which is a huge love in this house.
Yes.
My son took a love to baseball at the age of 2.
Yes.
Watching a baseball game with his dad, and it was the Cleveland Indians playing the Baltimore Orioles. And he thought they were the Baltimore Oreos. And so he fell in love with baseball because of Oreo cookies. But even to this day, that is his passion. And even though they're changing baseball this year a little bit, it is still, where his heart is. So tell me, who's your favorite team?
Oh, well, I'm from the Bay Area, so San Francisco Giants till I die. and
Oh,
beyond.
well,
So
I can understand that, and I really appreciate people being loyal to their home teams. So,
my chair is orange and black. So and I have orange in my hair.
yeah,
So
I thought you did. I wasn't sure if it was the picture behind you or your hair. So,
no, I'm very, and my car is orange. So we're very, very passionate about our team here.
that's wonderful. So you mentioned, in passing, and we haven't really talked about it yet, but you have some physical limitations. So tell us a little bit about, how this all occurred and, how you overcome them to be the person that you really want to be.
Well, first off, I was born with spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. I was born 3 months early at 2.5 pounds, and I had a minor bleed in my brain, which caused the CP. And I was in the hospital for about 3 months in 1986. And I couldn't have been born in a better hospital. I was born at Stanford, so I had that going for me. Yeah, and so basically for me, what that means is no two people with CP are alike. But for me, it means that I have like a constant body twitch. So I can get really tired quickly, and it can also send my body into a pseudo seizure. So, yeah, basically what I want to say is having a long-term brain injury is tough on the body. But I think there's so many services for kids. There's not really a lot of services for adults with CP. It's getting a little bit better, but I really kind of had to learn how to live, getting older with CP, because no one ever really talks about it. And one thing I want to say is I didn't really overcome anything.
Okay.
That's not the point. The point is to overcome ableism, not a disability. And that's what I overcame, was ableism. In the school system, in life, that's what I overcame. My disability is who I am. It's a part of me. It's my community. I don't wish to shy away from it. I don't wish to, it's been there since birth. So it's who I am, but ableism, yeah, let's do away with that in 2021.
And such a wonderful message that you're sharing, because so many of us have grown up in a society where we have these blinders on and we don't see what people are able to do, but we assume what they are not able to do because of a physical look or maybe the way they communicate with us. And I had to learn very early on as a mother, um, when my second child was born. For the first 6 years, he was on schedule, typical. We wouldn't have thought there was anything different about him. At the age of 6, he was diagnosed with autism. And
Mm-hmm.
just the label itself made people look at him differently and react to him differently. And that's when we got on board and said, whoa, it's about what you are able to do. And let's make the most of that, because you're always going to be having that label. But you know what? It doesn't have to stop you.
No, it doesn't have to stop you. And in fact, it makes you, I don't know. I just think that having a disability is a work of art in a sense. It's a ingenious way to live. It's just, I don't know. I've spent a lot of years, because of the ableism that I experienced. I experienced a lot of ableism, unfortunately, in the school system. And, because of my exhaustion that we talked about previously, I was not made for a full week of school every week for 12 years. I was just not made for that. I would probably get exhausted in day 3. And they just thought, oh, I'd like to stay home all the time. Well, of course, I don't like to stay home all the time. It's just how it is, So yeah, it's just, and once I got past, I think it takes a realization, like as a whole, as society, we are so capitalistic, um, and I think that has a lot to do with our ableism and how we treat others and how we are are measured by what we can do in a day. And I just don't think that's a healthy way to be. I think we need to be more focused on compassion and warm-heartedness.
You are absolutely right. Um, and that's why I love doing these shows, because I get to learn more about individuals like yourself and become um, more aware, more understanding. Um, because before I started doing these, there was always that assumption in the back of my head, oh, does that person, are they taking advantage of being able to take the time off? Are they using this as an excuse? But as I read your bio, um, you don't take much as an excuse. You're out there working hard. And
Yeah.
so tell us about some of the projects that you've worked on that really are important to you.
Oh gosh. Well, when I first moved down, I moved down here in 2005. Um, and I felt pretty famous in my small town that I grew up in because I was doing probably about 3 plays a year. I was in the newspaper often. I grew up in a very small town. So, um, and then by the time I left, I got given the John Ritter Scholarship, which was big news at the time because he had just passed. I never got to meet him, sadly, but I still think he's one of my guardians. And his brother had CP. So right before he died, he donated like $5,000 to the media access office, which is still going, but it's not the same as it used to be. Yeah, so I felt like, okay, this is going to be great, even though I knew in the back of my mind, with the collection of film that I have, I had never seen any real representation. But I was hell bent into thinking that, oh, it's not going to matter, And when I got here, it was pretty heartbreaking to really feel that, and to see it and to know it and to know that they didn't want to see us in any rooms. So yeah, that took some time. I kind of went in different directions, but it's really picked up in the last 4 to 5 years, and I've just done a lot of background work, which is I think that's great to learn on the job. It's best to be on set. No role is too small, and in this learning process, I've done about 4 or 5 shows, Speechless, For the People, all kinds of stuff. But I would probably say my favorite speaking roles, both of them are pretty prolific in the sense that it's putting disability in an awesome light. My role on 911, where I was a 911 dispatcher guiding the main character through an emergency tracheotomy. And that was awesome because, here's somebody with a disability that's an expert, and the main character is calling them for help. And I think disabled professionals that's what you need to see.
We absolutely.
Yeah, and the commercial, I did a campaign for United Healthcare. So I'm actually kind of being tossed a bouquet. Yeah, so, and I caught the bouquet, and so that kind of shows my gamer babe baseball skills there. So I mean, both the roles that I've, the speaking roles that I've gotten are amazing. So I can't wait to add more to it. But
Absolutely.
already I've gotten the roles that I would like to play.
Well, and then again, there are people like David Zimmerman and his group.
Love David.
David is just amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
and I have learned so much from him. Um, and, I try to share that with individuals all the time. It's about walking around with our eyes wide open and seeing individuals for all the abilities that they have. Um,
Mhm.
I grew up in a home where I was the youngest of three children, having two older brothers, and um, I was just expected to get through school, eventually get married, eventually have kids, and, be this suburban housewife. And I remember asking my parents, I probably was in my 30s, and I said, "Didn't you have any other dreams for me?" And they both looked at me and they said, no, you were supposed to have dreams for yourself. And I said, but I've heard you my whole life about you're going to grow up, you're going to get married, and went through this whole thing with them. And they said, then you weren't hearing us correctly. So I look back and I say, that was my disability. I didn't know how to communicate. And so I heard what I thought they were trying to tell me. And that's when I became more of my own person and started digging deep and saying, what can I do? And stopped asking myself, what can't I do? And I think that's really important for all of us. It's not about what we can't do, because until we know what we want to do and can do, that, we can make the right decisions. So as we sit here, I remember reading something else in your bio, something about you were involved in a scary movie or scary
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a haunt actor.
a haunt actor, right?
So one thing to know about me, I'm a huge Halloween fanatic. I got married on Halloween, so Halloween has just always been my favorite holiday, and it's something that I take really seriously. And I can dress up on other days too, but that's just something that I just love the feel of that time of year. And when I was a kid, my parents took me. My sister's birthday is on the 30th of October, and I remember when on her birthday one year when I was like 10 years old, my parents went to Santa Cruz, and then we went to this multi dimensional, like multi-room experience. And I remember it just had something in that house to scare everybody in my family. And I just remember thinking, like, you could work at one of these, what a dream job. And then I did. I found basically that same experience, but here in Thousand Oaks. It's called Reign of Terror. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years. And I created a character called Malice. And yeah, that's probably one of the best jobs as an actor that you could do, because no two scares are alike. You're dealing with somebody different every 30 seconds. So you always have to be on your feet. You always have to be prepared. And it's just the greatest gig. So much fun.
I've never been to a haunted house.
No?
No.
Not for you, huh?
Well, I've always been a wimp. I've always been terrified of going to to a haunted house. And it's funny because I guess about 3 years ago, my youngest son uh, chose to, put on his big boy pants, as he said, and he went to a haunted house. And he came home and he goes, if that was scary, I wonder what it really means not to be scared. And I said, Mom could have gone through there and been okay. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, any wimp. He said, now I got to go find a haunted house. So
You're gonna find a good one.
yeah. So we'll have to send him out to California.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I'm not you. I think you're in New York, correct?
No, we're in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you guys having like a lot of really cool home haunts. I can imagine, because that's really how it starts. You somebody with money who loves Halloween, really. So anybody can do it. That's what I think. What I like about it is there. Even if you have to move on from one house, there's going to be another that's probably going to crop up, and you can join that. It's fun.
It sounds interesting, and I'm gonna have to look into it. Maybe that could be my next career move. Who knows?
Who knows?
So, do you have anything sort of planned now that we're slowly coming out of the pandemic? Do you have any gigs coming up?
Well, I've been working with Maysoon Zaid. I don't know if you are familiar with her. She's very well known. She's Palestinian, and she has CP, and she's kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of the disabled community. And through this pandemic, I got to know her, which is nuts because she really is like one of my heroes. And to randomly start doing kind of like these readings of her scripts with her and my friends, it's just kind of wild, like where did that come from, and I can tell that it's definitely going to go somewhere, which is great because it's like our own little company of disabled actors, you know what I mean? So I think that, unfortunately, I think the pandemic might set us back a little bit. I think that with the pandemic, I think a lot of professional settings are saying, no, we can't take the liability, which is sad, but I think that there, are obviously ways around that. It's just going to take time.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of things have changed this last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and none of us really know exactly how it's going to pan out. I work with a number of musicians, and we've been supporting them the best way we can, but we know that all of you in the entertainment field, for the most part, have had to just sit and wait this out. And we hope that with the vaccine, with some of the new medical things that are coming about, that we can get back out there and be inclusive. It's about time that we stop.
Well, especially after this whole time period, I think that, our system. I think everybody is realizing, whether they like it or not, that our system is totally broken.
Yes.
For people with disabilities, for the elderly. It's just, I think, especially, I remember really for me, like an interesting turning point was when we all got the $600 stimulus, and people were like, wow, wow, wow. And I'm like, hey guys, just a reminder, 600 is like the average of what people with disabilities get on SSI.
Yep.
And they were like, oh my God, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm dead serious. Many of us live at or below the poverty level, and I just think people think, oh, somebody with a disability or illness is taken care of, not necessarily at all. So I think it's with everything that we've faced and gone through, I think we have an absolute duty to do a better job than what we were doing.
I cannot agree with you more. And we make these terrible assumptions that we assume, like you said, that if you have a so-called designer disease, oh, you're being taken care of, and nobody is really being taken care of unless they actually have the deep enough pockets to take care of themselves, or their family can take care of them. And there is way too much discrimination in this country. And I understand Black Lives Matter, but your life matters as well. My life matters. And we have to start working together to embrace each other. And
yeah, absolutely. It's Black Lives absolutely matter. I'm sad because I'm getting my hair cut on the 27th. Usually I put a BLM undercut on the back of my head. I live in Sinew Valley, so I like to stir it up a bit.
Hey, if it makes you happy, I'll tell you the other day, on the weekend, I work as an IT person. And I went in the other day and I had 2 pink extensions in my hair.
There you go.
And I will tell you, I had more people wanting my services for training wearing those pink extensions than anything else. And I said, well, now I know what to do because, I looked, I guess I looked like maybe I was younger than I am and was willing to do more. I don't know. So
That's just fun. You just had some zhuzh that day. I like it.
yeah, I loved it. So I told my husband I'm going to get purple ones because that's my favorite color. And he just looked at me and he said, do whatever you want to do.
Once I started dyeing my hair purple and then going back.
Well, I'm so glad we got to meet. I want to get back with you in the future when hopefully the pandemic is over and things are starting to move a little bit faster out in the industry. And we will be looking for you on a TV show, a movie, a Netflix series.
It's going to happen. It's going to be great. I would love to do another interview. Sure. This was a blast.
That's wonderful. Well, loved having you. Thanks for being with us and stay safe out there. Okay.
You as well. Get vaccinated.